Now I'm asking, is sex love? Because nowadays it seems like the kind of relationship we practice is give and take. Like, you give me money, I give you the other one. I mean, it keeps on
You're
going
right.
like
You're
that.
right. You're right. Because what you said is actually the truth. People see love as a transactional thing, and I feel the ladies, African ladies, our Nigerian ladies made it look that way.
Why?
They kind of to them their definition of love is you them giving you this and you giving them that. It's more like a transaction.
At this point now, do you think that love exists in this country? With
Love
all these
exists.
things going on in Nigeria
Sure, I
today, everybody
believe.
craving money and
And
sex.
then the first thing you need to understand is Nigeria is hard. I've actually been in love with a certain girl, and she finally acted like a girl.
So
Like
what do you mean by she finally
a
acted like
girl
a
is a
girl?
girl. It's a woman who always acts like a woman. Women don't actually care about
Your feelings,
your
right?
sacrifice, your feelings. What they care about is what's actually happening at that moment, time, what's actually happening presently.
Let me say
Um,
you love the girl, as in the girl did nothing to you or anybody,
but the
but
family,
your family don't like this particular girl, maybe because of how they perceive her or what they heard about her or just anything. Somebody can actually hate somebody because of anything.
okay,
So will you marry that kind of a girl? Will you insist in marrying a girl your family, which consists of your father, mother, and your siblings, rejected? Will you still go ahead to marry that kind of girl? What's up, guys, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and in today's episode, I'm not going to be doing it alone. Of course, you can see another guest here, another wonderful guest of mine. He's a relationship expert by name Chiwetalo Stanley Patrick, aka Mr. CJ.
it's nice being with you, bro. It's
Bro,
nice.
nice having you on my podcast.
Thank you.
So, today we are going to be discussing about a sensitive topic, a very, very important topic, which is love. I mean, I was thinking a lot recently about what is happening in relationship and marriages in Nigeria today. It's not funny. So many crazy things, divorce here and there, paternity fraud, you know, what have you. And funny thing is that nobody is safe again in this relationship thing because in a certain podcast, someone said with 20 million, she can literally sleep with any man on earth. You can see that's how bad it is now, especially in Nigeria today. So, bro, I have so many questions for you as a relationship expert.
All right.
So, first of all, first thing first, at this point now, do you think that love exists in this country?
Sure, it does. I
Why?
believe in
Why?
true love. I believe true love
With all these
exists.
things going on in Nigeria
Sure, I
today, everybody
believe.
craving money and
And
sex.
then the first thing you need to understand is Nigeria is hard. You understand? So a lot of people come out to say a lot of things to get people's
To get
attention. You
people's
understand? But
attention.
true love, it exists. I would tell you that for free. It exists.
Why do you think true love actually is there? Why? How?
I've actually witnessed it, and I'm still witnessing it. You
Wonderful.
understand? So
Yeah.
I should say I'm lucky.
You're lucky. Wow, one of the luckiest man on earth.
Sure.
Because I've seen so many sad guys who
No,
are not.
there are a lot of stories out there. Based on I handle a podcast. Stanley says, and sometimes I
Yes.
do post
Yeah.
anonymous link for people to send in
Send
their
messages. Yeah.
confidential messages, and I do get a lot of stories, true life stories happening, a lot of things really happening in our present day relationship. But that does not mean true love does not exist. It does.
Now I'm asking, is sex love? Because nowadays it seems like the kind of relationship we practice is give and take. Like, you give me money, I give you the other one. I mean, it keeps on
You're
going
right.
like that.
You're right. Because what you said is actually the truth. People see love as a transactional thing, and I feel the ladies, African ladies, our Nigerian ladies made it look that way.
Why?
They kind of to them their definition of love is you them giving you this and you giving them that. It's more like a transaction. So on the other hand,
Yeah.
the guys also see it that way too. I know a particular friend who sees girls as an accessory. It's like, you can
I
imagine
mean, commodity,
as like a
something you
commodity.
just
And
buy.
yes, like I saw a trending post on Instagram and on X, formerly known as Twitter, where a girl, I've forgotten that her name, she was saying that she can actually sleep with anybody for the sum of 20
20.
million. You understand? So you can
Yes.
imagine the kind of ideology that girl has. And a lot of girls in our society have that same ideology. You can be talking with a girl and she's like,
What can you do
what
for
can you
me?
do for me? Can
Mm.
you actually, can you, can you maintain me?
Mm.
And most times when I see girls who make that kind of statement, I'm ashamed of them. Like,
Yeah.
on their behalf, I'm ashamed. Like, can't provide for yourself. Imagine
And
make
you are tasking someone's
to
son.
provide for you. You understand?
Yeah.
So most girls make love look like a business transaction, a property
Like,
elevation scheme,
sorry
which
for
is
trying
not
to
proper.
cut you off right now.
Yes.
I mean, like, how do you define true love in your own terms?
Simply first, you will actually um note what love is. Love is having strong feeling and affection towards a person. So if you don't have a feeling, love itself is a feeling. You understand? What makes up love is feeling. So if you don't have feeling for a person, you don't love that person. You understand? Most girls don't have feelings for most guys, and
Yeah.
that's why it goes that way. And
Yeah.
most guys who don't have feelings
Feelings
for
for the
most
girl.
girls, that's why. And at the end, you see a lot of shit happening in a relationship. So love is based on having a strong feeling, having feeling, having affection,
Okay.
towards a person. So that's what love is all about.
Okay, judging from what you just said now, love is a feeling, right?
Sure, it is.
So does it mean that if the feeling goes, because definitely the feeling will go
Sure,
at a long run or short run, depending on the how strong your feeling is,
exactly,
as you
because
said.
most times
So what if the feeling goes?
it's
That means there won't be love
it
again.
happens it happens. There's this certain billionaire, guilt. He divorced his wife. They not you can't actually call that divorce case. They
Yeah.
actually agreed and
Separated.
separated. Let's
Yeah.
say they grew out of love. It does happen. It do happen. People tend to stop. The
Go
feeling is
out of
not there.
love.
The
Yeah.
feeling is not there. So there's no need deceiving themselves. Trying to act. So that's why I told you. That's why I
Mm.
said earlier. Love is a feeling. So once there's no feeling there,
Yeah.
it is dead. You understand? It's just that present day in our society, most of these teenagers, we
Mm.
teenagers actually.
Are you a teenager?
I'm still. What
You,
do you mean?
old
I'm
man
still
like
young.
you.
What if I
Are
don't
you
have
a
hair? What if I
teenager?
don't have frontal hairs? I'm still a teenager. You understand? Okay. So we
Ah,
teenagers, we a
okay.
kind of
Uh,
misunderstand what love is. People see
okay.
love as an avenue to make money, for the ladies, and the
Okay.
guys they see love as an avenue to catch fun.
Do you believe that, okay, someone that loves you, a girl that loves you, do you believe in, like, let me say, them billing you, or do you believe a relationship in such that you will be the one to provide?
If I'm
You don't like anyone bill you before you provide.
okay,
Yeah.
if I'm like, let's say I'm in a relationship with a certain girl,
Yeah.
if I should be in love with a certain girl, I have to be there for her. I have to
Okay.
be there for her emotionally and otherwise. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, if she has a problem that in my own capacity I can solve that problem, I'll go ahead and solve it. It's not making it a must, because most girls make it like it's your task, it's your job, it's
Mm.
a deal, you signed it,
Yeah.
which is not proper. So if I'm in love with a girl, if I love this girl, I need to be there for her. You understand? I need
Mm.
to be there for her when she needs my help. So if she bills me
Mm.
and she's in bare need of that, you know,
You will give her.
I'll definitely I should. But it's
Okay.
not making it seem as if it's my job.
Mm.
You are supposed to buy. Most times, most girls in our
Mm.
society, they go
Yes.
after things that's not actually necessary.
Necessary. Yeah.
You see a girl that has nothing doing,
Mm.
going for wig of 600,000. Wig is nice, or
Mm.
you need to look good as a lady,
Yeah.
but onwe ha na-akpọ n'olu ndị Igbo na ihe a ihe need. This is what you want. This is what you really need at this particular time. A girl who does not have something doing, who actually should be looking forward of in starting a business, should not be
looking
craving for
for
wig.
wigs.
You
Yeah,
understand? So, like I said, I will be there for a girl I love. You understand? Financially and emotionally, but it should not look as if it's my tax, it's my
it's your
job to
tax.
do, because that's what most girls they kind of
Wow,
made it look as if it's what
made
it
it
is.
to be okay.
Exactly.
So now at this point, you sound like a husband material. 10,000 years anyway.
All right.
So then,
And I always
okay.
tell people that love is a beautiful thing,
Wow,
in
wow,
as
wow.
much
Tell me
as
something.
in as much as the society presently,
Has painted it
exactly, there's a
somewhat
lot
what
of bad eggs out
doesn't
there.
supposed to
You
be.
understand? But love is a beautiful thing. Sure.
Now, as someone who has a girlfriend, yeah, you're not married now, right?
You're coming out to tell people everybody that
So
have a girl.
no, as
Okay.
someone who is in a relationship, okay,
Sure.
sorry,
Because you get person maybe the crush on
everyday
me now. He
crush
wants
on
to
you,
spoil
abi.
market for me.
Guys, he's single, he's
No, I'm not
single,
single
he's
because
single.
my
Like,
girlfriend could be watching actually. But I don't know
you
put matter
see,
for my head.
he's a polygamist. Okay, so let me ask what I want. So
Alright.
what's that silliest thing that made you fall out of love with somebody who you were madly in love with?
Um, like I said, when you are in, you're in love with somebody, you have to use your head. So what makes a lot of people a kind of distance themselves from falling in love or
Hmm.
relationship is based on trust. I've actually been in love with a certain girl, and she finally acted like a girl.
So
Like
what do you mean by she finally
a
acted like
girl
a
is a
girl?
girl. You understand? A
Yeah.
girl is a girl, and a boy is a boy. A woman is a woman, and a man is a man.
So you mean there is this certain way? Okay, well, there is this certain
No,
way
no, no, no.
women
What,
act.
what I'm trying to say is,
Mm,
women are. I actually post this on my platform.
mm.
Women will always a woman will always act like a woman. Women don't actually care about
Your feelings,
your
right?
sacrifice, your feelings. What they care about is what's actually happening at that moment, time, what's actually happening presently. You
And
understand? So,
this thing you just said now
so
remind me of what someone told me. I mean, most men usually say this thing. There's this one comment they usually make about women. They say that women don't care about your feelings.
no,
They don't care about how you feel.
or your sacrifice. They
They are
don't. They don't give a
after their own feelings.
yeah.
Once
Yes,
once they can satisfy their own feelings
sure.
with you, that's when they are with you. And the reason why they are with you is not because they actually love you. It's because you are the highest of the highest. I mean, when it comes to the dating pool, the choices that she has at the moment, you are the highest in the
Funny
line.
enough, she already have your replacements at
Waiting,
waiting
standby, right?
standby.
So, what do you think about like?
That's just their nature. You understand? That's just their nature. Women, they actually it's very easy to get you know get women their attention with their commitments. It's very very easy to get that. And I have a friend of mine, is my uncle. He said to me, he was like, Stanley, if why they are just complicated, but there are good people out there. You understand? There are
Yeah.
good people out there, but the woman will always be a woman, and a man will always be a man. A woman has, flaws, and a
Okay,
man
now
has
you mean
his own too.
like men are the people that love, women don't love. Is that
No,
what you're
no,
trying to
no,
say?
no. That's what I'm. That's
Because now you know why I asked you now because
sure.
this statement of women are all about their feelings.
Exactly what they are
Now,
feeling at the
doesn't that
moment of time.
contradict what you just doesn't that contradict what you just said now that love exists?
Love exists. You understand?
But doesn't it
That
contradict?
no. What I'm trying to
Because
tell you,
now let me just say, okay, let me just say I'm a woman now,
sure,
right? So you are in love with me,
sure,
but at the same time, let's say I love you because of what you can do for me
sure,
as a man that you are.
sure.
So and all of a sudden, all the things you've been doing for me, you stop doing it, and then I stop caring for you, I stop loving you.
Sure.
Isn't that fake love or?
One thing there is just that, like I said, a woman will always be a woman, but
Mm,
some it takes courage, it takes discipline to not to fall into you know
mm.
those flaws. You understand? Love is a beautiful thing,
So
though. Just that most times we actually meet the wrong people, and they tend to deal with you. I treated a topic on my podcast called "Monsters You Made."
Yes, I think I am aware of that topic. Yeah.
Yes,
So guys, he has a podcast. He's
sure.
always he release every week, which is on
On
Mondays. You
Mondays.
guys should go and listen to that podcast. I will leave the link below my description box.
Thank
It's
you.
very very important.
Thank you.
So you say your love is a feeling, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes at a point we grow out of love.
It happens.
By growing out of feelings we
It
have for each
happens.
other.
It happens.
So does it mean that our parents who stayed with each other till death, like they don't love each other?
When you talk about
Mm,
our parents, talk
yeah.
about African tradition, our belief, our
Uh,
belief is you reach a certain age, you pay your bride price, you change your surname to the name of your husband, and you stay with him for the rest of your life. So that is our belief as Africans. You
yes.
understand?
Yeah.
So there are people who don't see that. Most couples in Africa, they grew like it happens. They stop having feelings for each other and they still stay. You
In the
find out
same
that
house.
there's
Yeah.
no peace in that family. You find out that every time there's always wars, there's always fights, disagreements, arguments, and misunderstanding. These are the symptoms of falling out of love. But it's based on our tradition, African tradition. You have to stay there. You understand? You have to, for better, for worse, you have to be there. You understand? But people
Mm.
do grow out of love. You understand? It does. It happens. It's just a sad truth, and I'll say it officially in your platform. People do grow out of, like, they fall out of love. The feeling dies. It happens.
So that means someone divorcing with another person is okay now.
I'm not
We should
saying I'm not.
normalize it.
I'm not like I said. I used to be gay as a case study.
Yeah.
I would
So
say I would.
let's talk. Let's draw it closer to our country,
All
our
right.
yeah Nigeria.
Okay.
So like like I stated in the beginning of this podcast about the rate of divorce
Divorce. Yes.
in Nigeria today,
Sure.
the rate of marriage crashing, and every other thing happening, both in just normal relationship.
Sure.
Let's not even talk about the divorce and stuff like that.
Sure.
So does it mean that we should just now normalize being divorced? And
What you need to
because it's just like
no, what you need to understand, a lot of things divorce just don't happen that way. A lot of things contribute to that.
yeah,
you know Most people go into marriage without knowing their partner. Like I
yeah,
always say,
yeah,
before you say I want to marry this girl or
mm,
I want to marry this guy, you need to cohabit together. In as much as their religion, is a taboo for
yeah,
some people, some churches, some groups. It's a taboo, but I feel
mm,
personally it's the right thing to do, to cohabit, to stay with that person for a while, to know
mm,
if this person, you can, if I can actually share or spend the rest of my life with this particular person. People
mm,
do a lot of nasty things in private. Understand? People, snore. People sleep with one eye open and the other one is closed.
so
It
yeah,
happens. I
yeah,
have had a conversation with a guy. He
yeah,
needed help from me. He was complaining that the girlfriend, she snores, and when she's sleeping, one eye is closed
and one
and
is open.
the other one is open. And he was like, "Stan, is this girl not a winch?" You understand? So I was not telling him, if you can
Mm,
actually, people have, flaws. You
yeah,
understand? I have my own flaws. There are
yes,
things I do
everybody,
private in
yeah,
private that my
definitely
partner won't
everybody has
like.
their own
You
flaws. Yeah,
understand? There are things I do in private, like the way I sleep, the way I, like my posture while lying down.
yeah,
I know if let's say a girl, she does not like it.
yeah,
You understand? And I'm really working on myself in regards to that. So people have flaws. You understand? So it's normal. So like you asked earlier, what you need to know, things contribute to divorce.
yeah.
People don't know their partner. They just, okay, go into marriage with somebody, with like a girl will go into marriage with a certain guy because age is not on her side, the pressure from her parents, and she end up marrying the wrong person. And from the start, you know, there's always troubles. And
You end up
if you
divorcing.
check back in our, olden days, our parents, before you, let's say now you want to marry a particular girl, you're not even the one marrying that particular girl. Your parents are the one marrying the particular girl, because they will have to go for research to know if
Yes,
there's, you know there's no record of madness in that family you want to marry. There's no record of
sure.
stealing threats in them. There's no record of some disease. Like, there are a particular family who actually suffer from cancer and the rest of them. deafness and blindness, and so in our father's time, they do investigate to be sure that
This
okay,
family is
it's right.
okay.
But presently we don't do it. Once you see a girl on Facebook,
We
chatting
just
hand,
we are in love
like
already.
let's say 6 months, 7 months, in your mind you be like, this is the one for me, and you don't really know this girl, and you bring her
And
and
this
keep
thing
her
you
in your
just say now
house. Yeah,
remind me of a particular question which I usually ask my guys. Like,
sure.
as in, would you insist in marrying a girl your family, which consists of your father, mother, and your siblings, rejected? Will you still go ahead to marry that kind of girl? Let me say
Um,
you love the girl, as in the girl did nothing to you or anybody,
but the
but
family.
your family don't like this particular girl, maybe because of how they perceive her or what they heard about her or just anything. Somebody can actually hate somebody because of anything.
Okay,
So will you marry that kind of a girl?
before I answer that question
Yeah.
as the guy in question, I would advise the girl to leave the guy. That's just the bitter truth. Like, I want to use this opportunity to advise a girl who, because a lot of people
But
have
you personally, will you?
married the girl.
Yeah.
Well, if I love this girl
Mm.
and this girl has something like that is special, I will go for the girl,
Regardless of the fact that
regardless.
your family hate this girl,
You know,
don't you
my
think it will bring
I
a
know
pro?
I have I've had similar. It has happened in my family. There's this a particular uncle of mine when he wanted to marry, and my mom and my other uncles, they were like, you can't marry this particular girl, she's from this particular side of Nigeria, you can't, you know but after everything, they are living fine now, they're living peacefully.
And everybody later loved her.
Yes, but what I want to say is, if as a girl your fiancé parents and family are not in support of
The
your fiance
marriage.
marrying you, leave that guy.
No, I'm talking about the guy side now
I
because
want to use this
you are
opportunity to advise the
okay.
girl.
Advise the girl. Okay, fine.
Sure. That's
So
just it.
like you will still go ahead
I'm
to.
living with the girl. My parents are not the one living with the girl.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm the one that's going to suffer it. Yes. It's just like a man who is in a serious relationship, or
Hmm.
who is actually marrying a girl, and
Yeah.
any slight argument,
Yeah.
you rush to go and tell your mom. It's
Okay.
childish. Does not make
Oh,
sense.
I want to ask you. Okay, with the way things are going, because all of us knows that things are getting messy day by day.
Sure.
With the kind of advice being given out there on social media, how people tell you if your man doesn't do this one, do that one, just break up with him.
Sure.
If your woman doesn't do this, do that one. Because there is this group I joined recently about men. They call it red pill.
Okay.
It's where it's just like the kind of advice I joined the group to know if I will get educated on some things
Sure.
about men. So, but at some point, I realized that some of the people posting there sound so bitter. Like it's just like group of people
Group of bitter people.
group of bitter people who have been dealt with by some group of women,
Let's say group of
group of
monsters.
group of
Monsters.
unknown women that
Yes.
I don't even know.
Sure.
Like they keep on dishing advice, which your common sense will tell you that these people are sad.
Sure.
I mean, so do you with the kind of things going on around in today's world where all so many wrong advice are being given on social media,
Sure.
that free platform, do you still advise people to marry or let everybody just be there
No,
on their
no,
own?
no, no. I always tell you, this is our world. This is the world we find ourselves now. Our generation, the media, the internet is free. People, you can actually get access to it. It's cheap.
It's,
Internet is
and
cheap.
that's what's making it more toxic day by
Exactly.
day
So
because
people are coming
people
out.
people just come to like say how they feel.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
let's say you feel angry this moment, you just come on social media and then say one thing.
Exactly.
And then now, let's say the people that watched that thing you posted that
Sure.
time will take it as a good advice.
Sure.
Then tomorrow you come back with another advice when you are happy.
Sure.
You see how
Sure.
bad internet can be.
The internet is cheap and is dangerous.
It's causing a lot of
You
problems.
understand? So, but the important thing is there is you knowing what's good, knowing what's good for you, knowing
You know,
what's
there are people who can't think for themselves,
that's the
and that's the
problem.
people I'm so bothered
You
about.
see, the my issue is I always tell people the worst that can happen to you is if you are suffering from low self-esteem. That's the worst that can happen to anybody
Definitely.
because you won't have a choice for
You
yourself.
won't even have a say for
You won't
you.
have a
You
say
end
for it.
up letting people to think for
That's
you.
why I do advise most guys if you want to fall in love or go into a relationship, you should be very, very careful when going into a relationship with somebody who a girl who has low self esteem or a guy who has a low self esteem because he will be easily influenced by his friends or she will be easily influenced by her friends. So if you have a low self-esteem, when you come online, you see a lot of advice from random
Random
people.
people, like bitter people, sad people. I mean, you know, and one thing about advice is that if you are always sad,
Sure.
you will definitely come across sad advices from
Exactly.
sad people
Sad
like you,
people like
and
you.
then making you more
Bitter.
bitter, and day by day you
Sure.
grow worse
Sure.
in your sadness.
Sure.
You see, so and if you decide not to leave those things, I mean, live happy
Sure.
the way you're supposed to, you end up being what you don't know, the
Exactly.
monster.
You made it, exactly.
I no make any monster. Abeg, na you make me, na you dey make as monster. Wetin concern me? So let's digress a little bit
All
on
right.
this topic.
Okay.
Let's talk about paternity test.
Paternity test.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the paternity fraud.
Paternity
Let's
fraud.
just call it paternity fraud.
All right.
You've heard about this case of this certain Nigerian footballer.
Sure.
So what do you have to say about this particular issue?
Um.
Because the issue really trended, and I was like, how?
Paternity.
Like the first one, the
Okay.
second one, the third is the woman that's heartless.
Paternity fraud is something that is kind of trending of recent. There's
And that's the just one in a million though.
exactly.
What of this? I'm just asking, what of these poor people that don't even have the money for
Wow.
this thing? What are they going to do? No, I was thinking out loud, like, you know,
Yeah,
this topic was
you
was like,
just no wait
I'm just thinking,
wait
what of
wait
these poor
wait.
guys? Like,
You just reminded me of something. There's this neighbor, you know, in our house.
yeah.
Okay, so my dad was like, Stanley,
Mhm.
this particular boy no resemble him father. You understand? And funny enough, if
Mhm.
paternity test should be introduced in that kind of region,
There
problem
will be
marriage
problem.
but
Will be
you understand. So
in shambles.
paternity fraud is kind of is a real issue happening
A
presently.
very, very
It's a real
serious
issue
issue.
happening presently, and I don't know. It's I saw the story of that particular footballer, and it's so disheartening. You know,
Mm.
finding out that his the kids he felt,
Was his.
it's really so disheartening. Finding out.
But you know what? I wasn't even surprised because most of these women will always shout, "Men has come, men has come." But once it's time for paternity test, everybody will start getting
I think
scared.
women
Everybody
they're
like
always defensive.
very, very, and like unapologetically defensive.
Exactly.
Like, men has come, men has come. But once it's time for the DNA test, you start shouting that the man doesn't trust you. If you actually think you are an innocent woman
Mm-hmm.
to this paternity fraud issue, allow the innocent man to do the paternity test. There's nothing there. The only thing there is that the man wants to know if these children are his, to know what to do on time.
Funny
Just
enough,
like this one now, some people now, it's just like one news I heard about 2 or 3 years ago,
sure.
about a man who wanted to take his kids to the States.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's time to do the DNA test, and they did the DNA test, and the kids were not his, the man was so angry and bitter. The man ended up killing
Yes,
himself.
I saw that news. He
You heard
committed
the
suicide.
news,
He killed
right?
the wife
He
too.
committed suicide and killed
Exactly.
everybody
Yes.
in the house, just to make sure that nobody survived. You see the
Like
thing?
I said earlier, a lot of things contribute to divorce. A lot
Yeah.
of things contribute to paternity fraud. Like let's say a girl who is actually in a relationship with me,
Yeah.
and I'm not ready to actually wife her, and she sees a guy who is ready
Mm.
to put a ring on her finger, who has the money, and she's in love with me, her boyfriend, but just that I'm not ready.
Yeah.
We're having sex, and let's say she finally married that guy, and she was pregnant,
Yeah.
not knowing I was actually
The
the
owner
owner
of the
of
child.
it. Happens. I do
How
advise.
can a woman not know the father
I
of her
actually I
child?
actually do advise most couples, most guys, go for DNA test your first son to be sure you're actually the father of your first son, because you'll be here and you see a lot of stories on Twitter.
Because
You
these
see a
days,
married wait, you
someone
see
even said that if a paternity test should be conducted for all the first son in Nigeria,
they should. I think Nigerian government
you
should
will
actually
realize that most of the first son in Nigerian
exactly.
homes are not
Do
the
you know that funny enough,
uh,
do you know that most girls they
uh,
actually do what we call
purposely do
no, do
that.
you know they actually do what we call give what is it called? Send
Send
forth
forth.
sex to their boyfriend before they
I've heard something like that,
not that
but
I've heard, I've seen it
it's,
happen like
but why is
a
it so
close
now?
friend. That's
And they purposely get pregnant
that's
for these people,
that's
right?
how I don't know how to say, but how most that's the kind of women we find these days.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, it's really really hard to find a quality woman.
Mm.
A lot of girls are really suffering, from going through self-esteem issue, low self-esteem. Understand? That's the reason why we love. Most girls don't even know what don't even have plans for themselves, like what they really want. So they are easily influenced by their friends to do a lot of crazy things. So in regards to paternity fraud, it's really happening and it's so bad. There's a lot of stories, and I think the federal government should make it a priority, like
But on
making
the
sure it's free
contrary,
of charge. DNA
don't you
tests so that
think
people
that men
get
are
access
also
to
the
it.
perpetrators of this paternity
That's
fraud?
the problem. That's the problem. You see a lot of guys.
Because I'm just thinking, who are those impregnating these girls? Men.
I don't know, but it's a very serious issue, and
Because I'm just thinking maybe
I feel so bad about it. You are a low quality man if you are having sex with a married woman. You
but
are
sometimes okay, let's be
you should
taking
be
it from
ashamed
two
of
angles though.
any man who is any guy who is
Okay,
having sex with a married man
okay
should be
now,
ashamed
but
of
I
himself.
have this story of a friend of mine.
Sure.
Like, if this guy is very handsome, tall, and all the physical qualities you
Character,
want in a
yes,
man.
exactly.
So
Features.
now there is this girl that he was dating that already got married some years ago.
Okay.
So I was asking him about this girl. He was like, do you know that this girl gave me a sent for sex before she told me that she's
You
getting married?
married. It happens.
You see the thing now, which means this girl, this said girl now, purposely did that send for sex. And one of the crazy part about this send for sex this girl gave to this guy is that they did it without protection for the
That's
first time since when they dated. For 3 years they
wow.
dated. That
Wow.
was the first time they had sex without
Unprotected.
protection,
Sure.
unprotected. You can imagine that kind of a thing, which means this said lady knows what she was doing.
Sure.
You see the thing
She's
now.
aware.
So coming to think of it now, who should we blame? The men or the women?
It's a general something, both the men and both the woman, like I said. So any woman who's having sex with a married man should also be ashamed of herself. I should repeat, any man who is having sex with a married woman should be ashamed of himself, and any woman who is having sex with a married man, you should be ashamed of yourself. You hear the person in that kind of a thing. So that's just it.
So what? Okay, now the last question. Don't you think that the reason for this paternity fraud is because, let's say, women marry who is ready,
That's exactly, you just answered the question. The reason for this is just that women marry who is ready,
versus who they love? And
who has money and who is ready. You
so
understand?
what
And
they
pressure too,
pressure, yeah.
pressure from family.
Pressure, yeah, yeah.
It does
Pressure
happen
is one key. I believe
from
that.
family.
And then, so what are we going to do? Because it seems that okay, the way we the ideology or the perception we have about women in this part of the world, in Africa, in Nigeria, is so different. So, what do you think should be the remedy to it? Because as it is now, with the way things are going, the paternity fraud will continue to be on the rise until we stop so many things. So what do you think we should do to add to the marriage we are the kind of marriage we are practicing in this country to make things work, to reduce paternity fraud rate? Is it
Um,
even possible?
it's
How can we remedy
it's
it?
possible. I think the best thing to do, or the best way in tackling this issue is, you know, you as a person being prudent, living upright. Like I always tell people, we all know what we are doing. You know what you are doing when you are doing wrong. You know you are
You
doing
know you are
wrong.
cheating.
You know you are
You know you
cheating.
are giving
You just,
another
yeah,
person their
exactly.
another
So
person's
the
child.
important thing is be good. It's just like what I always tell people. I'm a Christian, so I tell people that the summary of the whole Bible, Genesis, Exodus, and Leviticus and thereabout,
Just to
is
live right.
live right and be good. So I feel that's my final say in regards to the question you asked.
Okay, so now, uh, in conclusion, we should live upright.
Live
We
upright,
should live good,
do good.
do good, and
Exactly.
live good,
Live good.
because that's the
Exactly.
most important thing.
Exactly.
So now, what's your final thoughts for everybody out there, both the men and the women, about relationship and marriage? What's your final thoughts?
My final words before I go, before we call it a wrap,
Yeah,
is before you go into a relationship with anybody, you should know the person. You should cohabit with the person, in as much as some religions, some denomination feel it's wrong and they are right
in their own way.
in their own way. But in my own way,
And
I'm
truth,
right too.
religion is one of the major problem we are having. Like,
Exactly. We'll talk about this. I think this should be a very nice topic. In
religion,
regards to
right? Yeah,
religion. Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
So
So
in our next podcast, we're going to be discussing religion, because religion has played a much important role in
exactly,
shaping this nation,
exactly.
not just this nation, the world at large, because religion destroys things as well as makes puts
Build
things in
things as
order.
well.
you,
So
you get so.
like I said,
Mm,
before you go into a relationship with somebody, you have to, be careful, know the
be
person
careful out there,
well.
use your head.
Exactly. Use
Okay,
your
you
head.
guys have heard him.
Use your
Use
head.
your head
Sure.
whenever you are going into a relationship with
In
somebody.
anything you are doing, use your
Use
head.
your head,
Sure.
delete your brain. Yetago. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being with us. If you watch this moment, I appreciate you a lot. You're my big fan. So please, like I always say, make sure to like, share, and subscribe this video.
Exactly.
Subscribe is just a simple way to support our movement. It's just a simple way to support the little good things we are doing for you. So stay safe out there, and bye for now. See you in the next episode.